Perfect. Thank you very much for joining me. Yes, my name is Sean, and you're watching MLS Ireland does predictions for week 28. I believe it's week 28. There's a lot of games on during the week, so I'm going to call it week 28. So, yep, these are my predictions, and then this will be put on YouTube. So, subscribe. Thank you. And obviously, this is obviously on Twitch. So go ahead over there and hit that hit that follow button. Do it. Live life. All that kind of crack. But anyway, it is a new week. There's not many weeks left. I think there's about 6 or 7, which is a bit sad. But let's see, Philadelphia, how many games do they have left for the season? To be concluded, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. So 6 games, 6 or 7 weeks basically left. Not bad. There's a lot of games granted on tonight. There's about 11 games on tonight, which is quite a lot. But alright, this is my Twitch, so I usually try to go through them nice and quickly and then upload them onto YouTube because the games are on tonight. So crack into the first game. Like I said, Philadelphia against Atlanta. Now Philadelphia, like you see here, hasn't lost a game at home, which is pretty impressive. Their last 4 was pretty impressive. Atlanta's only won the 1 game away. Not impressive. Philadelphia are a far better team. They won 6-0 against who was it last time? I think was it 2-6-0, wasn't it? 2-6-0 against DC United and Colorado Rapids. Now they're coming up against Atlanta team who are not bad. They've lost lost 1 game in the last 6, and that was against Red Bulls. The last away game was against Columbus Crew, which was a draw. Cincinnati, which was a draw. Chicago Fire, which was a draw. So they're coming up against a very good Philadelphia team who are scoring for fun, if that makes any sense. Yeah, scoring for fun. I'll go with that. Philadelphia at home should be pretty impressive. Their last 2 games out of the last 6, and that was against 2 teams away from home. 2 not too bad teams, to be fair. Standings pretty important. They're in the last 8, doing very well. Total goals scored 57, and compared to no, it's not good, is it? Atlanta need to start scoring. They did all right against DC. Well, granted, DC United let them be all right, but again, they come up against a good Philadelphia team, so I'm going to go for like a 2-0 win to Philadelphia. Just they are a better team, Philadelphia. They're second. And the way LAFC are playing really at the moment, there's a possibility that LAFC could be probably caught. So it's not over just yet. The next one is Montreal against New York Red Bulls. Now, this one was actually a bit of a trickier one because, as you can see, the 2 wins and 2 draws between the 2 of them. Montreal at home are capable of doing a good result. Red Bull are very capable of doing a good result away from home. Montreal, who are 4th, won their last 3 pretty impressively. Chicago Fire, okay, they haven't really beat many teams, to be fair. Great. Chicago Fire probably the best team in it, and that was away from home, so which was a good result. Whereas Red Bull won against Inter and beat Atlanta away from home, so their away record isn't too bad, so that's not too bad. But again, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Montreal. I do think it's going to be an interesting one because the 2 teams are probably slightly well matched home and away. So, but I think Montreal are more not confident. They're more confident. Basically, I'm just going to stick with that. 2 teams but Red Bull are very good. Not too bad too as well away from home. But I think Montreal are more consistent. That's the word I was looking for. Consistency. Pity I was more consistent with my words. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win to Montreal. The next one is Columbus Crew against Inter Miami. Now, Inter's away record, they've only won 2, which is pretty bleak. Granted, one of those were a couple of weeks ago. Columbus Crew's record is a flag. So, it's not too bad. I'm still not really sold on Columbus Crew, granted. I was going to say they basically Montreal. Are you mad? Of course, James. Of course, I'm mad. I'm doing this to one person, and it's you. Columbus Crew. Not too bad. 1-1, 2-2, 2-2. So if there's only one way this is probably going, then you probably think you know where to go. So they're coming up against an Inter Miami team who are just below them, lost, and you love it. And well, I know you love it, James. I think you more just love me, but that's for a different time and a different place. So yeah, I'm gonna go for like a 1-0 win to Inter because they're surprisingly, I'm not gonna say a better team. They're better individuals, but coming up against a Columbus Crew team who are probably in a not as good form, but yeah, I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with a 1-0 win. The next one is New England against Chicago Fire. New England Revolution against New Chicago Fire. Weird ways of saying things. I don't know. Chicago Fire are a bit of a strange team at the moment. They started doing very well. Sorry, they started the season off crap, and then they started doing very well, and then kind of hit a brick wall for some reason. Quite badly. So like they started doing very well, and then they drew against Atlanta, which was not a bad result to be fair. Beat Charlotte, and then they had to play. I suppose Philadelphia are a very good team. New York City are a very good team. Montreal are a very good team. And so they're coming against a New England team who are not great. So are you doing any fantasy leagues this year? Of course, I'm in one with you, you mad bastard. I believe I am. Yeah, Jesus scored, and he's my captain. So woohoo! So yeah, New England against Chicago Fire. I'm gonna go for like a 1-1. I think these two teams are probably well matched. They're not very good or not very bad. They have very good individuals and probably not the greatest defense. So I'm gonna stick with a 1-1. The next one is Orlando against Seattle. I like Orlando's starting to play very well, beat New York City, Charlotte, and New York Red Bulls, so that's pretty good. And they're coming up against the Seattle Sounders, who aren't doing very well, and they may sneak it into the playoffs, God knows, but the way they're playing at the moment, I doubt it. So it is going to be a good one. It's going to be an interesting one. Seattle are probably a better team than Orlando, but Orlando are at home, but Orlando at home are not really nailed on to win these games, whereas Seattle could probably surprise anybody, and this is the time of the season where they start to pick up points and make it into the playoffs and usually win the bloody thing. So I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win to Seattle just because they've been here before and they know how to do it. So yeah, I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win. The next one is Toronto against LA Galaxy. Now Toronto, like LA Galaxy, got a couple of shiny new players and they're starting to look good. Toronto at home now haven't lost a game in the last 4, which is pretty impressive. LA Galaxy won their last away game, and that was against New England, and that was a pretty impressive result, seeing that LA Galaxy are pretty poor. So Toronto at home only lost one game out of the last 6, and that was against Inter, and that was away from home. So this is their first home game in a week or so, 2 weeks. So this is going to be a good one. I'm going to predict a 2-2 just because these two teams haven't got a great defense, but they've got very good forwards and probably good midfield, so I'm going to stick with that one. Which league are you in? I don't see you in. Oh, crikey. Are we not in ones that we made in Primerica? Are we not? Send me which ones you're in so I can beat your ass, bruh. Bro, see, I'm in Twitch already. I'm doing bro. Jesus. The next one is New York City FC, basically against DC United. DC United now finally have Christian Benteke in their ranks. Bit too late, but he's there. He's there to do a job, I suppose. Defend, hopefully, against the New York City FC team who have got a forward now, basically they haven't really got a structure anymore, and they've only won the one game in the last 6, which isn't great to learn. That was against Chicago Fire. Not great. Got beaten by Orlando, Charlotte, Inter Miami, and Columbus Crew, all the teams that you would suspect them at the start of the season. They would have won these ones. So they're coming up against a DC United team who probably have that new player kind of spark where they're kind of a bit more up for this game. So I'm going to go for like a 1-1. New York are a good home team, but like their record shows, they're a bit out of form at the moment, so I'm going to stick with my 1-1. The next one is Houston against LAFC. Houston are second from bottom, only drew the one game in the last 6, which is pretty impressive because I thought they'd be down lower. And that was against the Colorado Rapids team, which is pretty good. They're coming up against an LAFC team who are losing the last 2 games against San Jose Earthquakes, which is a bit of a shock. Against Austin, which was a bit of a shock. Well, when I watched the game, they were horrific. But they're coming up against an Houston Dynamo team who are not too bad, but they're going to get beat as long as LAFC show up. So I'm going to go for like a 1-0 win in that one. If you can invite me, happy days. Invite away. Well, we're 4 games into the season. I wonder, does it work? I don't know. I should be fine. I'm probably going to beat your ass. Can I start this later? I can't remember. I thought you... Anyway. I suppose you could. The next one is Nashville against Colorado Rapids. Colorado starting to slip a bit. Beat New York City, beat Minnesota in pretty good style. Then drew against Columbus, got beaten by Vancouver. Drew with Houston, which isn't a good result. Then they just got hammered by Philadelphia 6-0. So that's not great. Normal league should be okay, but not the head-to-head. You in the head-to-head? Jesus, since when did you come into football? I know you like Everton. That just proves how the hell did you get into football. Strange young chap. Nashville, 9th, won their last 2 against Dallas, which is a pretty good result. And Vancouver, which is not a bad result because Vancouver are a strange team at home and they could probably beat anybody on their day. So, saying that, Nashville at home, I might go for a 1-0 win to Nashville. I did go for like a 1-0, but I think Nashville are, the more I think about it, the more I see their record and all that kind of stuff, I kind of like what they're doing, so I think they're in a bit better form. Austin against Portland Timbers. Austin are still a wee bit sporadic. Granted, they got beaten by Minnesota, but that was away from home. They beat LAFC pretty convincingly. Well, LAFC beat themselves quite convincingly. Beat Sporting Kansas City twice in quick succession. So Austin away. At home to Portland Timbers. Portland are actually strangely mid-table, aren't they? Yep, 14th. Won their last game against Seattle, which was a bit of a surprise. Granted, I think they got there. I think they beat them already in the season. So their last 2 away games were against Toronto and Sporting Kansas City, which wasn't pretty impressive at all. You're actually trying to pay attention this year. Happy days. And you're an Everton fan. Probably try and start next year when they start. And when they're in the championship, they're going to be a lot better. They're going to start winning games. So it's going to be a good one. The next, Austin. I'm going to go for like a 2-0 win to Austin. Portland are mid-table. Austin are doing very well, and I think that win against LAFC should probably put a wee bit of spark into them and put them over the line for a convincing win. The next and last one is Real Salt Lake against Minnesota. Minnesota are actually not doing too bad. Beat Austin, Houston, and Nashville. Pretty good teams. They got beaten by Colorado. Colorado are a sporadic team. They were all over the place. Drew with Portland and beat Houston. Yeah, I agree with that. They're an entertaining team. I agree with that. It's entertaining to watch. I don't know about entertaining to be a fan of Everton, but they're entertaining to watch. It's either hello darkness, my old friend, or we're safe. We're safe for another day. So Everton's the new Burnley. How about that? Real Salt Lake against Minnesota. I'm going to go for like a 1-1 draw on that one. So Real Salt Lake at home should be impressive, but I think Minnesota away from home, should do a bit better. So I think a good 1-1 draw is probably pretty impressive for that one. So yes, those were the predictions. Been on for nearly 15 minutes. That's way too long for what I'm used to. So for all yals and gals, those were my predictions. Hope you enjoyed them. James, stay true to yourself, you mad bastard. And I'll see yous on the next one. Toodaloo.